Hello, 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 friends. Nicholas here. DIVOted Talks, where we take ancient wisdom and practices taken through modern experience and lenses so that we can end suffering for those who are having troubles adapting to the modern world. And I'll tell you what, it isn't just the modern world. These ancient practices were devised to help end suffering. And I even have heard people flippantly, disregard that, well, back then they had to worry about eating and having enough food and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but also they have human issues, connection, community, fitting in, you know, s- disagreements and accepting others and tolerating others and approving of yourself. Like these are all things that exist and have existed for humans. And, even in the Yoga Sutras, there's the Namas and the Niyamas that are, for practices for self and for, community and society, that we stay pure and that we don't consume too much, that we don't hold too much, that we don't take from others, that we don't harm, that we don't harm ourselves and we don't harm others, and that we stay pure and that we, oh my gosh, stay in a homeostasis on all levels of being, mind, body, and spirit, in every levels of consciousness and perception that exist. And bearing that in mind, we must accept that some things are harder than others to do from a modern perspective, just as I'm sure there are things from an ancient perspective that are hard for us to do or imagine. And so being able to sift through the things that are important to us makes sense for us and will help us while alleviating things or releasing things that do not, won't, or can't. And having the wisdom to know the difference, right? I like the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. What do you know about your life that you can change? What can you be brave enough to change and accept the things that are not meant to be changed right now? And it goes back to what I've talked about in the last couple of episodes about keeping a log and being aware of what you're doing and how that makes you feel, what that produces in your life, and what you actually want to produce in your life. And so with all of these, concepts and thoughts in your mind, how can you, as a human, living the life that you're living, show up in ways that help yourself to the fullest power, that can help others to the fullest power, that you can achieve and participate in all your responsibilities and obligations to the fullest power, and release all the things that are not. So not wasting your energy on things that you can't show up to your fullest potential to, and you're not felt guilted into doing it. You're not feeling oppressed for having to do it, but doing the things that even on the hardest day still give you joy because you chose to be a part of it and not for some other reason. And so the yoga path calls us to clean the perceptions of our mind, body, and spirit so that we are seen and perceived clearly, so that living in the world is less traumatic, living in the world is less oppressive, and living in the world becomes a more joyous, participatory endeavor than this oppressive and painful thing that must be done. Right? And if you think about the way the world wears some people down and yet lifts other people up, in those differences of experience, I bet you will find people who choose for themselves versus people who feel chosen for. But again, it is a highly individualized curriculum according to A Course in Miracles. And in that individualization and individuation of the self, you will take the experiences, live what you are capable of, and then what happens, happens, and then you proceed. And when the lessons cease, so does your experience in this plane. And if you can be okay with that coming whenever it's meant to, rather than trying to avoid it or prevent it, instead of just enjoying the time that you do have. You know, these dichotomies could be the difference between a highly fulfilling and meaningful life and more suffering. So, what do you choose today? I choose to be well and be free, and my wish is for you to have that as well.